nation of violence. That is not, there were basically no elections. What we were seeing is basically some coronation of people who had been decided that they must win by hook or crook. And you saw what happened to their supporters in Matungu, because it had been decided that seat had to go to the Central Coalition under ANC. The other one had to go to Ford Kenya. And violence would be meted out in a manner that is unmeasured. When did you ever see a senator walking around with goons, members of parliament walking around with goons, getting hold of IBC officials and ejecting them from polling stations? If we want to set that kind of precedence a year before the run-up to the elections, I said it last week and I challenged the Inspector General of Police. And I said it even on Monday. If he is not too eager to write his own charge sheet before the ICC, this is how we began 2007, 2008.
Mheshimiwa, do you agree?
Yeah, to some extent I agree that there was so much violence. It was all over. It was in the media. It was, it was so much violence. Even though there was also violence in Msambweni.
Correct.
Yeah.
And he was there too.
Yeah, and he was featuring in big way. I don't know whether it was part of the violence.
Violence being meted out on me.
No, violence being done by that time people affiliated to his new party, UDA. But all said and done, one thing I'm in agreement with him is violence has no place in our country going forward. Elections must be elections. And I was thinking yesterday aloud that we need to do some changes of law in parliament with him, that at the day of an election, in a by-election, members of parliament should not be allowed to go to those constituencies. Only the candidate and maybe one member from that party who can be a chief agent or something. But this issue of 50 members, 30 members of parliament going to polling stations during the election day, it intimidates voters, it intimidates police officers, it brings chaos also. I'm telling you. Look, a senator was walking around with 2.5 million shillings on election day. What are you doing with that? And crying, like a baby. This is my money. This is my money. What is that, young man? What kind of nonsense is that? Yeah, what kind of nonsense is that?
But you know what? After that, when the NCIC summons the members of parliament, nothing is done. Let's face it, guys. Nothing is done.
Jeff, you need to ask yourself, even before you summon, and I disagree on the question of members of parliament being present. Because elections, either you are there as an observer, you can be there as an agent. And I remember, like, the incident that you saw in Nakuru with the Honorable Nixon Korir. He was our chief agent in that ward, particular ward. But people are coming to eject him from a polling station where he is manning and checking whether all his agents are in place. And I'll tell you the experience that I've had with the recent by-elections, starting from the violence meted out by ODM with the support of the system and the state in Kibra, the violence meted out to us in Msambweni, again by ODM with the support of the state. And unfortunately, they say what goes around comes around. The same violence now is being meted out on ODM in Matungu by ANC with the support of the state again. If you want to belittle it to be a question of between members of parliament, what is the role of the police in an electoral process? It is to ensure that there is fairness and there is freedom for everybody to walk in peacefully into the polling stations, vote and go home. Why are the police bothered by seeing Junet in a polling station and want to eject Junet and leave me?
But what is he doing there?
If he's an agent,
let me say something.
If he's an agent,
no, you don't need to be an agent.
Or
because
an observer, there is nothing wrong with
candidate has an agent.
Correct.
From the local people there. Members of parliament go there with the guise that they are protecting votes not to be stolen. But in the end, they end up bribing voters. We know each other. They go to a polling station, he's carrying money, he starts dishing out to people there. That's what they want to do in every polling station. The best thing is, let the candidate have his own agents, let the election be conducted in a peaceful manner, let the best winner, the best guy win. But why members of parliament are going there, I can tell you for free. I'm one of them. They are going there with sinister motive of bribing voters, intimidating voters, chasing away voters. We must also say the truth if we were to cure the problem. As much as police can be used against people, which I have not differed with him on that, and because how can the police watch when somebody ejects an IBC officer from a polling station, takes her out, beats her up with her papers and polling items and everything, and the police just watching. That I agree is unacceptable. But also these members, 50, 40 members of parliament who are going to, is wrong. We should let people elect their leaders in peace. Even during the general elections, why are they not going to polling stations? Because every MP is busy in his polling station. Yeah. Being elected, so he has no time to go to another have you ever seen 30 members of parliament when he was being elected in Kikuyu constituency in 2017? No. They are all busy in their constituencies.
Circumstances are different.
Yeah,
circumstances are different because in a general election you actually move around in your polling stations in your constituency, and I do that. I move from the first to
because you are a candidate.
Because I'm a candidate.
Yeah.
And you are there to ensure that all your candidates are in place. Number two, there is nothing that stops, unless Junet intends to bring such a bill or such an amendment to the Elections Act, there is nothing that stops a member of parliament from being an agent. In fact, every member of parliament that you saw, be it Gladys Wanga of ODM or the other gentleman from, is it from Karachuonyo, the one who was being arrested in Matungu?
Nobody arrested him. He was beaten up, he reported to the police station, and it was assumed that he was arrested. And he was reporting.
I saw him saying he's visiting the police station.
Yeah, because he was being beaten.
But you saw the altercation that was there between Senator Malala and Honorable Gladys Wanga. I don't know, you're the director of elections in ODM. Maybe you can tell us whether you had given them money to go and bribe voters.
No.
Maybe you're talking from experience. I do not know.
No,
but
you remember what you did in Msambweni. You know, people like Honorable Mwashetani dishing out money openly.
Honorable Mwashetani, if you remember, Junet, you are not in Msambweni. I was in Msambweni, and I was moving around all the polling stations. What you saw was during the campaign. That was going around. The election day, what you saw was the altercation between armed people, and I said it here. People who were armed, and you remember you challenging me last time how I know the warrant bodyguards.
And the worst
people with AK-47.
All these MPs are carrying guns.
He is deputy party leader.
Guns.
Deputy party leader.
What do you mean all these?
All of them guns.
You're an MP
too. I don't have. You know, if government provides me with security, bodyguard, why should I carry a gun? All of them are armed, roaming around in polling stations like thugs. It's unacceptable.
The question is, Jeff, does the law allow or does it disallow? Okay. Number two, the law is in a polling station as an agent, whether you're a chief agent in a particular polling station or in an entire ward, you ought to have appointment letters from IBC. None. At least to the best of my knowledge, none of the UDA leaning members of parliament, those who were supervising the elections on behalf of UDA candidates, was there without an appointment letter.
All right,
and
gentlemen.
I can tell you that because I was involved in the list that had appointment letters. I know they all had appointment letters from IBC.
Okay.